It is about time that I plug them into the sump system. However, the problem that I have with adding the Furcifer to this aquarium is probably a surprising one for some of you. And that is the first time in 6 weeks that water has flowed into this tank. G'day guys, Jason here. Welcome back to my fish room. So a couple of weeks back, you would have seen that I purchased some Furcifer Resha. They've been in quarantine for over 6 weeks now. And it's time to pop them into the sump system. So that's what we're going to be doing in this week's video. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so this is the Furcifer Resha aquarium. It's a little bit hard to film this tank because it's on the top row in my fish room. You can see the fish, they're way more active than they were when I first showed you that I bought these fish. So I'm really pleased about that. Like I said in that video, I've kept the light off so they can settle into this fish room. They get ambient light from all the other aquariums and the light in the fish room. So it's more than enough for them to experience a day-night cycle. Not going to be by themselves anymore, they're going to be with other fish. So those other fish are going to act as dither fish. They're going to have a larger tank, way more swimming space. That really will suit these guys down to a T. I can see on camera they're chasing each other around this aquarium. It is about time that I plug them into the sump system. On this sump system, 22 aquariums connected to my sump, if you didn't know that already. Now you can see the water level is a little bit lower than the tank to the right of it. And that's because I've cut the water supply to this aquarium from the back of the tank. There is a ball valve at the back and I've closed that off so water cannot flow into the aquarium. I've also lowered the water level during my water changes. I keep the water level lower so it's below the bulkhead so water cannot flow back down to the sump as well. So two things there. And I've been doing water changes on this aquarium, this one specifically, for the last 6 weeks, along with all my other water changes. But finally, like I said, it's about time that I plug them into the system. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take you around the back of this rack of aquariums. I'm going to show you how I allow water to flow back into this tank from the entire sump system. When I isolate tanks in my system, it doesn't impede water flow to tanks on either side of it or below and above it. I can completely isolate any tank on this rack and it does not affect any water flow to other tanks because each tank drains to a common drain line and each tank gets its own water from a common return line. Because of that, I'm able to supply or cut off water from any aquarium without impeding water flow to any other aquarium on this sump system. So let's go do that now. And you can see all my plumbing work here. Now, if you haven't seen last week's video, I did a full video on how I return water from the sump to 22 aquariums using 2 return pumps. So if you haven't seen that video and are interested in seeing how I do it, you can watch that video right here. Now, like I said, it is quite narrow at the back here. So I'm at the back of the Furcifer tank right now. That is the bulkhead, so will start draining out of that, but obviously the water in the tank is lower than that bulkhead, so no water's flowing into it. And this is the ball valve. So once I open this, water will start flowing into the aquarium. So it's in the shut position right now. When I move it into the vertical position, it will be open. So I'm going to do that now. So now it's in the open position. Now once those pumps come out of feed mode, the feed mode time ends, water will be able to flow through this plumbing from the sump and into the aquarium. The aquarium will then fill up to above the edge of the bottom of that bulkhead and then flow back down to the sump. Okay, so the pump is out of feed mode and I can see water flowing into the aquarium finally. Might be able to see it on camera just about here. And that is the first time in 6 weeks that water has flowed into this tank. So this tank will start to fill up and it's going to fill up to about this point, and at that point it will overflow into the bulkhead, go down the plumbing, return to the sump, and these guys are officially plugged into my sump system. Now obviously I'm doing this to introduce them slowly to the water parameters that are in this sump system. So it's like a slow drip acclimation for these guys with introducing them. So I'll leave them like this for a day or two and then I will introduce them to their larger aquarium for them to grow out in over the next few months. So we can see the water level is getting higher. Over here, that little white mark there, that's actually PVC that covers the bulkhead, so obviously fish don't go over the bulkhead and down to my sump. I can see water is flowing over the edge of the bulkhead already and going down to the sump. The water level is now higher than the bulkhead is, so water is flowing out of this aquarium and down to the sump, and will filter all through my other aquariums. So yeah, it's been a long wait to do this, but I'm really glad that it's here finally. So there we have it, guys. The water level is pretty much level with the other aquariums on the top row of tanks. These guys are now officially plugged in to the sump system. And this is the aquarium I've decided to put the Furcifer in with my white Altolamprologus calvus. Now the reason for that is there's not many fish in here. They have a lot of swimming space and that will really suit them down to a T. I was tempted to put them in with my Neolamprologus leilupi in the tank below this one. However, I feel it'd be more appropriate in this aquarium. However, the problem that I have with adding the Furcifer to this aquarium, or basically any aquarium I have in my fish room right now, is probably a surprising one for some of you. And that comes down to their diet. Obviously, Altolamprologus calvus, Altolamprologus compressiceps. A lot of my Tanganyikan cichlids, the vast majority of them, require a diet with protein. Now, Furcifer do like some protein in their diet, but not a lot. They are mainly veggie eaters. So I'm going to run into some problems, I think, by putting them in here. So I'm going to have to try and make sure that the Furcifer Resha get their food. Pretty sure the calvus won't accept a lot of the veggie pellets. And then once the Furcifer have eaten, I will feed these guys their protein pellets. And hopefully that will help minimize some of the conflicting diet requirements that the two fish require. But we'll see how it goes. I'll just have to be mindful of that. Worst case scenario, I move out fish from another aquarium, say my Kawenga Golds and my Gilidochromous regani, move them out and then pop the Resha in a 4x2 by 2 foot aquarium by themselves. That is an option. I don't really want to do it right now. I'm not ready to do that move, but for the time being, I think they'll be okay in here. So what I'm going to do now is pop them in this aquarium. It's been a couple days now. The Resha are doing fine in their grow out tank on the sump system, so this shouldn't shock them too much. I'm not sure if the footage ended there with the lens fogging over on the humidity in the fish room. I really hope it was okay. You can see the guys are swimming around. They look fantastic in this aquarium. This is actually the first proper look that I've had at the fish since I purchased them. You know, they were in the bag at the auction. I plopped them straight into a quarantine aquarium and I've kept the light off for their entire quarantine period pretty much. And now I'm seeing them properly up close for the first time, and obviously you guys are as well. And noticing them in this aquarium, they're schooling around together. They're not showing any signs of stress. Their fins are nice, wide and open, and it's actually brought the calvus out into the open a little bit more. So already adding them to the aquarium, they're kind of playing a part as did the fish for the calvus. The calvus are playing a part as did the fish for the Furcifer. So really good there that they're all feeling comfortable enough to be out in the open a little bit more than they were in their own individual aquariums. So they just look amazing. I'm really pleased with how this has gone today. And they just look beautiful schooling together in this large 5-foot aquarium, following each other around the tank. I'm really glad with how this has turned out, guys. They look fantastic in here. They're really settling in well. And I couldn't have asked for it to go any better than it has. So there you have it, guys, moving the Furcifer Resha into my sump system. Really hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, comment and consider subscribing to the channel. I really would appreciate it. Alright guys, I'm going to wrap this video up now. Thanks heaps for watching and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.